First of all, I want to say thank you to the leadership of the Columbia Union in terms of actually hosting this forum. Um, it brings up for me a lot of painful memories for the country, something that has been taking place for the longest, and for whatever reason, it has gone unnoticed. I hear individuals getting upset with the idea of Black Lives Matter, and they say, well, all lives matter. I think one of the best illustrations that I have heard in reference to this is you're living in a neighborhood and there's a house on fire, and the fireman comes down the street, and there are individuals whose homes are not on fire saying, well, you need to come and put some water on my house, even though it's not on fire. It has the potential to be on fire. You put out the fire where it is. And for me personally, as I was thinking about this time that we would have, I shared with our leaders when I was 5 years old. I was at a Mardi Gras parade with my dad, and the balloon fell on the ground, and I reached down to pick it up. There was a policeman standing to my left, and he stepped on my hand and would not remove his foot until I let go of the balloon. I remember looking up at my dad, and he had this very strange look on his face, and nothing was said. I go fast forward to when I was about 14 or 15, and we were having this conversation, and I just blurted out to him, you let this man step on my hand and didn't do anything about it. And with tears running down his face, he said, son, I don't know why I didn't hit him, but if I had hit him, I probably wouldn't be here now. That was at 5 years old. I remember before I came to Allegheny West Conference, I was pastoring in Los Angeles at the West, living in West Covina, which was a rather upscaled neighborhood. I'd gone and played basketball that morning. I was driving a Mercedes. I come back into the neighborhood, and the policeman pulls me over. And I asked him, I said, why are you pulling me over? He said, well, you made a turn without giving a signal. I said, I put the signal on. He said, you need to get out of your car. And we go through this process. Then he wants to have me open the trunk of my car. And I said, well, why? He says, are you going to open the trunk of the car? And I said, why? And he gets somewhat aggressive. And so I go in, I open the trunk of the car, and, you know, of course, there's nothing there. And he doesn't say anything in terms of any more of why he stopped me. He just said, make sure when you're turning, you put your lights on, and then just walks away. I don't know how many of you have had the responsibility of talking to your kids before they start driving. My oldest son, Billy, while we were here in Dayton, Ohio, going to see his girlfriend in Cincinnati. He was a senior at Mount Vernon, not Mount Vernon, the I can't think of it right now. The Academy for Kettering, and he's going to see his girlfriend, and he's driving my car, and he is pulled over by a policeman. And he asked him, well, why are you stopping me? And he says, well, you didn't, when you changed lanes, you didn't put on your blinker. Same thing now, almost 12, 13 years later. Anyway, he has him out in public. He searches the car. He makes him pull down his pants on the highway as he is searching him. And so um, it's unfortunate in terms of what has happened with Gregory George and others like him. But this kind of police misconduct has been a staple within our society. I'm the first to say I have many friends that are policemen, that all policemen are not bad. But those that are needs to be held accountable for what they do. And I'll just say what Martin Luther King said. He said, in times of stress and anxiety, it's not a direct quote, but it's the principle is still the same. Times of stress and anxiety, it's not the voices of our enemy that we remember, it's the silence of our friends. And if you have an African American friend, you need to talk with them, get to know them in terms of their experiences, because outside of that, there's a whole nother world that we exist in that most individuals know nothing about. You have to do a lot of praying and trusting that God is going to work it out in the end. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to have in your heart or your mind a desire to anyone that you meet that you don't see them again in heaven. That's my experience.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. Thank you for sharing that.